guys, I'm Heather and I'm one of the coaches on the team, and I just wanted to take a few moments and pop in and talk to you about my story. I'm kind of like a coach who went from like a hobby coach that just sort of signed up because I wanted to help people to becoming a working coach. So anyway, kind of a little bit about how my passion for wanting to help people is I grew up as an asthmatic, and I took medication my whole life. I just could never breathe. Actually, I always carried this inhaler with me everywhere I went. To the point when I got older, I just got really, really sick, and I couldn't even function without the inhaler, to the point where like the pharmacy wouldn't even like refill it anymore because I had exceeded the dosage. And so then like I started to like take my brother's inhaler, and so anyway, I wound up in the office of a pulmonologist because I literally could not even walk 10 yards without like puffing on this inhaler. And it was the first time in my life that a doctor looked at me and he was like, "You are so dependent on medication." He's like, "You have to make a choice." He's like, "You can either continue to take this medication and you'll probably spend the rest of your life in a chair, or you need to start building your lungs up and become strong." And I was like, "Dude, I can't even walk 10 yards and you want me to run?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's how you're gonna get your lungs to be strong." And I think one other piece to my health at this point in my life was, I grew up in a very healthy household, and I played sports, and my parents always, we always ate healthy as a family. But when I went off to college, you start to eat that late night pizza, and you start drinking beer, and so my overall nutrition went down the tubes, and I think that sort of affected my asthma. But anyway, I made the choice to become a runner, and I literally could not even run from one telephone pole to the next. But I had a friend, for lack of a better word, an accountability partner, who would meet me every single day, and we would run like 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards. And I could see like this bridge up ahead, and I was like, one day I'm gonna make it to that bridge. And I did. Like a couple weeks went by, and probably several weeks, and I made it to the bridge, and I thought that was so amazing. And I had run a quarter of a mile. I was like, oh my God, I ran a quarter of a mile. But that was kind of like where I started from. Like I couldn't run a quarter of a mile, so when I ran it, I was like, oh my God. But anyway, I went on to become like a 3 to 6 mile runner, and I was very diligent about eating healthy and and being consistent with my exercise. And so I actually came off all my medication, and I've been medication free for years. So then kind of like fast forward, we got married, I had children, and kind of like a couple things happened at one time. The way that our kids are spaced out, I was in preschool forever. And don't get me wrong, I love my children, I love the preschool years. But I had left my corporate America job to be a stay-at-home mom. And, everybody kept saying, "Oh, you're so lucky, you're so lucky." And I was like, I'm not feeling so lucky. Like, I'm cleaning up Cheerios. I haven't had like a real conversation, with people. So I was kind of like going into this mommy hole. So I started to help my husband with his business, which is the business of baseball. And I loved helping him, but the more I helped him, the more like bitter I almost got, because that was his passion, and he loves baseball. Like he lives and he breathes it, and the more he works, the more he loves it, and the more he loves it, the more he works. And I was like, I want something like that, but I was the stay-at-home mom, and I was helping him, so it wasn't like I could just go out and get another job or something. I was kind of like committed to my stay-at-home mom job and helping my husband. And so that was kind of going on in my life. I went for my very first mammogram, and I flunked, and I got put on this watch list for 6 months. And that was when I really was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, if something was to happen to me, like, what would people say? Like, she was really great at cleaning up Cheerios, and I could, probably recite every episode of Sesame Street and Caillou. But, what was my purpose in life? And so that really, really weighed heavy on my mind. And, and then I was feeling guilty, like, why didn't I love being the stay-at-home mom, So with that, I decided to run the Chicago Marathon. And this is important, guys, listen up, because, you know, we talk about walking through your fears and worrying, you know, about making decisions or what people are going to think or what people are going to say. Well, when I told my husband I was going to run the Chicago Marathon, he flat out looked at me straight in the eyes and he said, "That's the dumbest idea you've ever had." He's like, "You're an asthmatic. You can't run further than 5 or 6 miles." And he's like, "You have no business running a marathon." Now, I could have totally have listened to him and been like, "You're so right. Like, that is a dumb idea. I can't run further than 5 or 6 miles, and you're absolutely right. Like, I'm not going to do it." But I don't know. I chose not to listen to him, and I just looked at him and I said, "Well, guess what? I'm going to run it. Watch me." So he was like, and you know, the first couple months when I was training, like, he was not really supportive. He was like, "This is a really, really bad idea." He's like, "You don't even like crowds, you know." But I was like, the more he was against it, the more I was like, I'm going to do this, you know. So with that, I decided to raise money for St. Jude. So I ran the marathon on behalf of St. Jude. And I started to post on social media about my running and about the food I was eating. And I really wanted to show people, like, that you can make a decision and commit to it and take charge of your health and have a goal and accomplish it. And so I started to document that on social media, and I really started to get this following of people that was like, "Oh my God, you know, because of you, I've started to run," or, you know, "Because of the recipe you posted, I've started to eat healthy," or "My family's starting to eat healthy." And that started to fuel my passion, because I was like, you know, I overcame asthma and I don't take medicine anymore. You know, I know that I'm building to this goal of running 26.2 miles. And, you know, by being consistent and going out there every day, I was doing this, and I loved getting those responses from people saying that I was inspiring them. And the other kind of piece to the puzzle that happened was our middle daughter was an asthmatic. And you guys, this was like our tray of daily medication. And, you know, it was like, look at that, may cause dizziness, may cause blurred vision. This one was like, may cause drowsiness. This one was increased heart rate. Like, all this crazy stuff. Like, this is what we took like 2 to 4 times a day. And I did a bunch of research on food. This is kind of a side note. But anyway, I did a bunch of research on food, and I cleaned up, like, we took out processed food, we took out this cute little goldfish, and I really, like, just stuck to organic fruits and vegetables and a clean, healthy diet. And I was able to take my daughter, who had been, like, in the ER time after time after time for breathing treatment, I was able to take her off all her medications. So I was like, I knew that you could commit to your health, that you had a responsibility to your health. And I wanted to show people, like, this doesn't have to be your life. Like, this tray of medicine doesn't have to be your life. Like, it may be your life, but you owe it to yourself to be the strongest version of you that you can be. So anyway, that was kind of a side note. But I wound up finishing the Chicago Marathon sub 4. I raised $5,000 for St. Jude. And it was then that I was like, this is what I want to do with my life. Like, I want to help people make these changes in their life. And that was when my cousin Moira reached out to me, and she's like, "I want you to, you know, hop on board with us. I want you to be a coach with the team." And, you know, I was like, I don't really know. And so I signed up. And so in the beginning, I was like, all right, I'll just help a couple people a month, because I was still, you know, in mommy world, and I was still helping my husband. But this job that I could do anywhere, anytime, gave me the freedom to follow through on my passion and something that was important to me. And so after doing it for a couple months, I finally was like, I woke up one day and I said to my husband, I was like, I love doing this. And, you know, I'm still going to help you with the business, and I'm still going to, you know, be the stay-at-home mom, but I need you to know that this is my passion, and I'm going to put more time into this. And so that's kind of how I became like a working coach, because I truly love getting responses from people telling me that their cholesterol was lowered, or that they've lost 30 pounds, 60 pounds. One lady lost 100 pounds. You know, that is amazing. And what I always tell people, like, you know, I'm not saying you're not going to get sick, or I'm not saying you don't like, you're not going to have to take medicine, but what I am saying is you owe it to yourself to be the strongest version of you. You owe it to your body to give it exercise. You owe it to your body to give it clean, healthy nutrition. And that's what I love helping people do. So again, I kind of went from just a hobby coach, but then after doing it for a while, I loved helping people and getting all these amazing responses. And that's kind of when I switched over and sort of became more of a working coach. And again, I can do it anywhere, anytime. Like, I'm sort of sitting outside in my yard right now. I was on vacation for 2 weeks, so I was totally able to work at the beach and keep in contact with everybody. It works well with being a mom. It works well with me helping my husband. So again, you can be a discount coach, and you can transition to a total working coach. Like, you don't have to hop on board right away and be like this full-blown working coach. Like, you can kind of transition. But I think the most important thing is if you have just a little bit of desire or a little bit of interest, follow through. Because, you know, if I had listened to my husband and was like, you're right, it's a bad idea, like, and worried what he thought, I would not be helping the people I'm helping today, and I would not be where I am, you know, in this business. And so you have to, you know, as Moira always says, your thoughts are your thoughts. So if you don't like what your thoughts are thinking, change your thoughts. Or, you know, I read this in a book one time, the music in your head is what you play. So if you don't like what you're playing, play something different. So anyway, I hope that kind of helps. I hope it kind of gives you a different view of, you know, my becoming a coach was based more on helping people become the strongest version of you, and helping them realize that, like, this doesn't have to be your lifestyle. And then I kind of transitioned from a hobby coach to a working coach over the course of time. So anyway, if you have any questions, I'm Heather, and I hope you guys are having a great day, and I look forward to getting to know some of you more. Okay, bye guys.